Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. I'm thrilled to continue our conversation with Dr. Eric Holsapple, a successful developer entrepreneur who's used mindfulness to transform his life and business and helps others do the same. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shalom. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you, the mindful business expert and the author of Profit with Presence. We're going to chat all about it. So, Eric, I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. How did you develop your own mindfulness, especially in the midst of a very, very successful, very, very busy career, which we don't even have time to name all the accolades?
Yeah, the first was, I was successful early in my 20s. But my health was poor and I was not happy. I was very stressed and I, just didn't have the feeling of success, even though I had all the trappings of success. So, and I just had to make some changes. I was overweight, drinking too much. And even though I had great titles and those kind of things, I just said, if I don't make some changes, I'm not going to be around here very long. So I made some changes, and one of the first things I stumbled on was yoga. And I kind of stumbled on it, but it, made a difference for me. And then a couple years later, my older brother had been meditating, and I watched him, heal his relationship with my father. My father didn't change at all. My brother Bruce just changed. And that really intrigued me, so I tried that, and that was the start of it. It was really great.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. So again, I'm chatting with Dr. Eric Holsapple, who has a PhD in economics, has been a real estate CEO and developer for nearly 40 years, has lectured real estate at Colorado State University for 20 years, but I really love this piece, practiced yoga meditation for 30 years, and that's what we've been chatting about over here. So Eric, we're having this conversation with a lot of business owners. How does somebody, especially within a busy, busy life like you've held, find purpose in their lives?
The thing is to realize that, profit or revenue growth or any of those things aren't purpose. I find that there's inner purposes and outer purpose. My inner purpose is, to be here with you this morning or to be whoever I'm with or to be doing what I'm doing and to be present with that. I still have goals. I believe in visions and goals and all those kind of things. I mean, this is an action program that we run. And then I have outer purposes, which are my doings, CEO of a company or playing golf or whatever that is. But whatever that is, I want to show up and be present. And when I'm showing up and be present, I show up with an intention and really an effectiveness that is unmatched.
Well, that's great, and that's fantastic. So let's define this a little bit more. That term mindfulness, and again, I'm chatting with a mindful business expert. Mindfulness is thrown around so frequently, but what really is mindfulness, and how does it fit into business?
Mindfulness, in one word, is focus, and not just focus on anything, but focus on what I choose to focus on. We have so many things coming at us, from our social media accounts to advertising to the government to, business things coming at us. If we aren't able to focus on what we choose to focus on, how are we going to accomplish what we choose to accomplish? So in one word, it's focus, and that's what we really practice on, and that's essential for business,
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and that's super important. So you've mentioned the term service before. So how does service fit into a sound business strategy?
Well, we talk in my book and in our program about what we call the precession effect, which is that things move at 90-degree angles. Everything isn't head on, and this is key to understanding karma too. It's cause and effect. So first of all, I'd say service is gratitude in action, and the science on gratitude is irrefutable. What it does for our brain and what it does, afterwards, we look for things to be grateful for. And service is gratitude in action, number one. Number two is that we take those intentional actions to help others. When we step onto that field, we meet other givers and other leaders in that work. So we go there to give and to serve, but we meet people on a whole different level. And those relationships that we form are essential for business. And we form a thicker, stickier relationship through service than we do through transactional work where we're just selling somebody something or delivering a service. I've found, people that have offered me, development opportunities. I've met people and had tenant opportunities, all kinds of opportunities come to me, like when we're walking for coffee or having lunch, that I've met people that trust me because they've seen me show up in a service situation. So, and it's the right thing to do, and it's how capitalism works, it's when we give of ourselves.
Absolutely. Again, I'm chatting with Dr. Eric Holsapple, mindful business expert, and we've been chatting about mindfulness. And, Eric, you sort of briefly alluded to this when we started this conversation about how you got started, but let's talk a little bit more about that, about how you got started in mindfulness and when did that business connection happen for you?
Well, it didn't happen right away. I mean, one thing about mindfulness, it's very simple. It can be started in just a few minutes a day, and it can be really private. So for years, it was private. I just did my practice and came to work and did different things. And then gradually, I would say it happened because people started noticing a difference in me, and they started asking me, what's going on with you? I noticed you're showing up a little differently. And then I started one at a time, just sharing maybe a book or a practice or something else. And then we started a seed group with just a couple of us where we met monthly at work. And before I knew it, 6 months later, the room was full of people that were interested. They were finding less stress, more meaning. And the company, went on a journey, and the management crew invented a new vision for the company, invented mindfully creating community. And it doesn't mean that everybody in the company meditates, because they don't. But a lot of people do, and it sets the whole culture and the vibe different in the company. So even the people that aren't, formally practicing are swept up in it. And
sure.
I love it because then they take it home, they share it with their families, they share it with the school boards, the teams that they coach, churches, all those kind of things. That business is a real melting pot.
Sure. I'm chatting with the author of Profit with Presence, that's being published in early 2023. Eric Holsapple is a regular speaker at public and private events and a popular guest on business podcasts. So, Eric, we are running out of time, and I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about this because this is the biggest and most important question. How do you find time to run a business, teach, launch a nonprofit, and raise a family all at the same time?
I created a system I call baseball, which is I getting my priorities set. Number one is my mindset. I call that home plate. I got to have my mindset right. That's where I do my mindfulness practices, my gratitude, those kind of things. The pitcher's life, I don't know what's going to come out that day. What kind of pitch I'm going to get? A curveball or fastball? A floater? I really don't know, but I need to have the right mindset for that. And the first base for me is my family and friends. I make sure my family and friends are set for the day, that they have what they need from me, that I've paid attention to them, I was present, I heard that, I heard them. And then I say second base is work. But when I go to work, I want to make sure that my family's taken care of so I can focus 100% on work. And also I realize that, I can have the greatest job in the world or all the money in the world, and if my family's a mess, I'm still going to be miserable. So I get that priority right, and then I go to work. And I focus on, I can't tell you how many people, you walk down the hall or on their Facebook or texting. They haven't really handled their personal items before they show up. So then I go to work, I work 100%. And when I get my work taken care of, third base is community service. I can go and I can serve, but only after my family's taken care of and after my job is taken care of. To say if I get that all done, it's a home run. If I can get the bases loaded, that's a grand slam. So I get my priorities set.
Eric,
how I make time for it all.
Definitely, Eric. I've enjoyed our conversation. I want to make sure we get our listeners in touch with you so they can get a copy of the book when it's ready, and also just get in touch with you. Eric Holsapple, how can we get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, our website is the best way, livinginthegap.org, just spelled out, livinginthegap.org. All of our events, you can sign up for our newsletter. There's free resources, a 21-day, introduction to mindfulness. There's book lists, those kind of things. And then the book's available on Amazon, pre-sale, Profit with Presence, under my name, Dr. Eric Holsapple.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us here and Get Down to Business. We've got to squeeze in a quick break, some headlines, some commercials, but we're going to be back more small business jobs and entrepreneurship when we return in just a moment. Get to my website, shalomklein.com, but don't touch that dial. We will be right back with lots more content, advice, and information for you. You don't want to miss it. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back and Get Down to Business.